JDP. We're going to be playing some tunes for you tonight. This is our first gig, so be easy on us, will you?
The band that I'm in, remember, I mean, everybody has the same disease that I have, which is the inability to do something exactly the same way twice. Sometimes it drives you nuts, you know. I mean, if you're composing something and you feel that there's a delicate little interaction that you want to hear, and you always want to hear it, forget it. You know, it doesn't happen. And other stuff does, which is much more wonderful. But you have to be prepared to relinquish a certain amount of your ego involvement with it. You can't, you know, it doesn't help to think of that you're doing real great. You know, it's not necessarily, and it also doesn't help. A lot of times too. This is another interesting thing. My perception of what's a good night for us may be totally different from everybody else's perception. Now, the audience sometimes has a great night listening to us struggle, feeling that we never quite get together. And sometimes we struggle the whole night without ever feeling like we've really agreed on anything. And sometimes the audience loves that.
Can turn when you're riding high. You were rolling with that easy charm, cards in hand and no alarm. But luck don't stay when the stakes get steep. You play too long, you lose your sleep. Oh, the wind don't warn you when it shifts. It just leaves you standing in the drift. About who's to blame feels like smoke without a flame. Truth still wears a ball and chain. You say you're fine, and that may be, but your mirror's telling tales to me. Oh, the wind don't warn you when it shifts, leaves behind the things you've missed. All that talk about moving on rings like a bell that's already gone. the silence and the sorrow, I started learning to pray, one breath at a time. I kept my hands in my pockets and my heart locked up tight, but nothing good ever grows without a little bit of light. I stopped waiting for rescue and started standing tall, and I finally trust the quiet. Some days I still lose my balance, still forget what I know, but I've learned that the cracks aren't just where you break, they're where you grow. And the echoes don't scare me like they used to do. I was just a quiet kid, questions in my hands, holding on to summer light I didn't understand. Kept my voice a whisper, my heart behind the door, always hoping there was something I was made for. People pass like rivers, always moving on. I stayed sitting in the silence long after they were gone. There's a way to being small in a world so wide, but somehow you learn to breathe and stay alive. That's the way we grow. Little cracks, little light letting in the soul. We don't rise in thunder, we don't shine like gold, but we hold on, and somehow we grow. I used to think the strong ones never felt the ache, that their voices came from courage, not just learning not to break. But time, she has a way of teaching soft and slow. You don't have to have the answers just to go. And I've been lost in moments I could barely stand, but I made it through with nothing but my two bare hands. Found a fire that no one else could see, and I kept it warm inside of me. That's the way we grow. Not in lines, not in lights, but in what we know.
Somehow we grow. Stand and break our bones. Tell us we're free, but raise the toll. While selling pieces of our soul. Sell us fear with hopes to be unseen. Package the lie like the silver screen. You lose your job, have to sell your land. They just smile and say they understand. But we're the ones who turn the key. We're the hands that plant the seed. We're the try to drown. We're the ones burn it down. We're gonna burn it down. You can lock the gate, but we'll still pray and take back what they gave away.
First steps on hardwood, sleep lost to cry. You trade your dreams for lullabies. You don't see the hours behind your smile, the thousand little things that make it all worthwhile. The lunchbox notes, the midnight talks, the scraped knees and the wobbly walks. You wonder if you're getting any of it right. Then they turn and say goodnight, I love you. And it fills you with life. That's the way love shows. In the quiet, in the mess, where no one goes. You give and give, and still you do. 'Cause they're your heart, and you're theirs too. You carry their worries, you swallow your tears, you build them a world with your hands and your years. There's joy in the chaos, peace in the fight, when you hold them close. That's the way we grow.
but they take the love you gave them and carry it more. We grew. I came into this world with eyes wide, could barely hold my finger, but they held my life inside. And I knew, yeah, I knew. Blankets on the floor, sunlight in their hair, their laughter filled the morning like it always been there. And I walk, Lord, I walk. Paint on their hands,
whole. They came into this world with nothing but light. Now they walk through the darkness with fire in their eyes, and they go, oh, they go.
sunset burning like kerosene. She smiled once, then turned away. Guess not all signs tell you to stay. So take your time, don't chase the heat. Sometimes a slow road feels more sweet. Take your time, don't try to win. It's not the race, it's where you've been.
in the door. Left her sweater on the back of that chair, like she might come back like before. I fill the house with songs and silence, but some echoes you just can't drown out. It gets loud in the middle of the night, and I only wanted time, but the days just slip by. If I'd known she was leaving, I would have lingered in the morning light, and the moments never taken for granted. You don't know when it happens, but one day the porch light means nothing, the driveway stays empty, and your heart starts to mumble things it once sang.
Let the clock slip away. 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 Well, hello there. It's been a while. Funny seeing you smile like nothing's changed. How have you been? Hope life's been kind. I've been doing fine in my own strange way.
used to do. I heard you moved far from this place. Guess everyone's chasing a sky they once knew. Strange how the light fades without sound. One day it's here, then you turn around, and the years don't ask if they should stay, they just go, slip away. Don't mind me, I still recall the fall leaves and late night calls. But time, she's clever. She takes what she wants, leaves you with echoes and half-sung songs. Strange how the light slips through the cracks. You think it's gone, then it's shining back in the laugh of a friend, or the wind through a gate, then it's gone, fades away. Goodbye now, it's getting late. I'll walk you out past the garden gate. Maybe next time, if we find the day, we'll sit a while, watch the light slip away.
Down at the corner past the neon sign, there's a band that don't keep time by design. The singer wears a crooked tie and grins like he knows you're living a lie. Drummer taps with a sideways grin. He's counting stars, not keeping in. The bass walks like it lost its leash, but no one's trying to tame the beast. They don't play for gold or fame, just ride the groove and dodge the blame. Midnight they play, the whole bar sings. They don't play for gold or fame, just ride the groove and dodge the blame. Midnight ghosts with rusted strings, but when they play, the whole bar sings.